Scripts, running order, boom. All right, let's fucking go. I don't know why, but I'm feeling that I might record this on Zoom because I don't trust my card.
Recording in progress.
So there we go.
I got it that we're doing that. Recording in progress.
Welcome to the Chelsea Fancast, the Friday night preview show. I am, of course, Stamford Chidgey, and joining me is the absolutely fantabulous Mr. Jonathan Kydd.
I love those adjectives. Oh,
I know.
Chidgey.
How are you?
Good. I got a bit losing my voice a bit poorly. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'll be all right, mate. If by halfway through I'm croaking, then perhaps you'll need to take over and it'll just be the Stamford Chidgey show. Okay.
Well, that would be
novel,
really dull. I think actually, there's a reason why I never listen to these shows. It's probably because I'm on it. But there you go, Mark. If you want to step in, you're more than welcome. It's just use the old link. Right. Anyway, enough of all this nonsense. We've got lots to talk about tonight, but there are only two parts, largely because I just had a ridiculously busy week and I just couldn't be. It's because the football was on Tuesday. That's what it was. It just fucks everything up. So I didn't have time to go and find a Wolves guest, but it's also like a rather tricky day. This is like the Friday before Christmas. I don't know if any of you have been out today, but it's like, I don't know. There's a psychosis in the air. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, not a good night to be really doing a podcast. Not a good night to be playing, or not a good day, in fact, to be playing a football match on Sunday, of course. More of that later. In fact, that will be part two, where we preview the Wolves match. But, of course, we're going to kick off with the match on Tuesday, which was, of course, Chelsea versus Newcastle. JK, it was, a massive win, I think. I mean, it's kind of really weird because it was a massive win, and we'll definitely talk about what happened at the end of the match later, because I just really enjoyed that. But it was a frustrating performance. I'm not going to say it was a shit performance. I'm going to say it was a frustrating performance. But I do think, at the end of the day, a cup match is all about winning. Doesn't matter how you play, it's about winning. If you lose, it's utterly shit. But if you win, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's about winning. But I think the biggest takeaway I have is, in fact, what happened at the end. I just thought, I mean, you were there, but I experienced it on TV, but the way that the fans and the players all came together, I just thought, fuck, this is quite a bond. They've never experienced that before at Stamford Bridge, these guys. This could be huge.
I agree completely. I thought it was hugely positive, but also I was so pleased for the coolness of the penalties, which was absolutely remarkable. I came away with huge love for Mudryk. I know I've been very rude about him, but he took his goal absolutely excellently and then slotted home that penalty. And I actually think you've got somebody there. I'll keep going on about this. He is so fast. If there's a way of channeling that brain into shooting more on target and just looking up to get people in and just get the pace of his pass right, he'll be the player that we thought we had from Donetsk, wasn't it? Because he showed glimpses again of just being able to completely dominate the fullback. And so I actually thought, and similarly with Nkunku, who did, I got taken to task for saying he did nothing. He did nothing for 25 minutes. He was just occupied space and took his penalty wonderfully. And similarly, I was so pleased for Petrovic and his great save at the end. I thought there was some very, if they can use this and build on it, there was some very excellent moments. And also, I was disappointed by the sympathy when I came back. I always come back and then watch the reaction at the end of the game on the telly, which I've recorded. And there was a kind of disappointment that somehow Chelsea had turned it round, because what a magnificent defensive performance it was by Newcastle. You thought, well, magnificent. We battered them. they just couldn't, all right, they deliberately defended. He played exactly the way that they played against PSG. And they're very good at defending, and they rely on Callum Wilson, who's, despite being an excellent player, has gone down in my estimation for his goading all the Chelsea fans and his nasty little flicks and fouls of people. Actually, I'm being unbelievably hypocritical because that's entirely the way that Mark Hughes played, and I loved him. So I can't really complain. I've always been...
Make your mind up, love.
I can't help it. But I know I've always been a fan of Wilson's because he is like that. He's a difficult player to play against, and he's unbelievably speedy. But it made you realise that Howe has based an enormous amount of their success on just defending in an unbelievably rigid way. I mean, in a very positive way. You were watching from the seats the uniformity of the defence. It was like watching Arsenal when they used to train with a rope, the back four, to keep absolutely in a line. And they were very disciplined. And we managed to get round it and score, which I thought was once again unbelievably positive, because it was a low block. We didn't give another goal. We didn't give another goal away.
Well,
other
JK,
than the error.
JK, they had one shot on target.
Yes.
Right? That was the goal.
Yes.
And then they basically tried to hang on for 55 minutes. Their second shot on target was right at the end.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So they were, and we're not supposed to be any good against teams that do that. And they're one of the better teams because they were in the Champions League, and they're supposed to be a great, new resurgent force. And we beat them. And I thought that was fantastic. And as you say,
well, to be technical, we didn't beat them. We drew, and then we won on penalties.
Well, but that's you're being Mourinho, aren't you? When he said that we hadn't
penalties
lost.
Don't count.
We didn't lose to Charlton, even though they beat us on penalties and they went through to the next round.
I would have said
all those years ago,
the best team did not win. But look, I'm not trying to be. Pithy or whatever, but look, as you said, there's so many things to talk about. This, the first one, just to pick up on something you said, actually, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we did create a lot of chances, and I was getting very frustrated.
Well, but it's the same thing, though, Chidgey.
They couldn't put the ball back in the back of the net.
Yeah. Once again, it's the same thing every time. They need a forward.
But my point is that they were getting through. They weren't just getting stuck on the 20-yard line.
There's the positive. But I think we're working it out at the moment. Sterling, despite not doing it all the time, is a very fast, tricky winger, and he provides a focus. Mudryk similarly is work in progress, but can do it. Connor is playing out of his skin. The amount of energy from him. So you can look at all the positive players. The second half of the game, he had the two fullbacks on, and it was a different performance. Gusto came on.
Well, that's what changed. That's what I was about to come on to.
Completely.
You said they got round them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting round them, but the delivery was shit.
Yeah, but it's bound to be shit because it's Disasi
and then Gusto came on. And I mean, bloody hell, I thought he was superb. I mean, that cross he put in was a brilliant cross. Superb. I mean, it begs a question, mate. I mean, actually, this was asked in the presser, so I don't want to steal your thunder for part two, but, it does beg that question. Well, Poch, why don't you just play proper fullbacks in their correct position? I mean, I know Gusto was coming back from injury. I don't know what his problem with Maatsen is. Colwill, is having stinkers at the moment. So it just makes a lot more sense to me. And we just look more threatening with them on. You put good balls into the box. Even though you don't have a decent striker, you've still got a chance.
Every good team in the top five has athletic, inspiring fullbacks who can beat their opposite number and get the ball into the box with a centre. And in fact, as I said before, I said last week, it's if Chile and Reece were there, we'd be a bit different team.
Yeah,
a different team, but both of them is injured, and and that'll similarly to discussion about Reece in the presser. I was surprised that nobody in the presser asked about Chile. Is Chile? Everybody keeps being greeted by both Chile and Reece wearing almost disguises because they're wearing very big hats and hoodies, and and dark glasses to embrace everybody. But I kept thinking, who's that embracing everyone? Because Silva got given an enormous hug by Reece at the end of the game. But once again, you were talking earlier about this great spirit. It was like watching a ladies' artistic synchronized swimming set up when they all bounced on top of each other when they'd won. This round circle with people, little heads bobbing up here and there. As an example for some of the players who've never experienced that at Chelsea, the crowd were great. Crowd were great at the end. I thought the crowd were pretty good all the way through. I mean, I don't think somebody said, some reporter I read was saying, it was all a bit dismal and you could hear the Newcastle fans singing. Well, the Newcastle fans are going to sing all the way through.
Well, actually, I can, because you wouldn't have known this because you were there and I was watching it on telly. The Chelsea supporters kind of like came up with a good old throaty Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. And the commentator said, there you go, the Newcastle fans are in great voice tonight again.
Oh, God.
I'm thinking, do you not fucking speak English, you retard? What the fuck? Well, I know the Geordies don't speak English, but that's hardly the point. I mean, I just thought, for fuck's sake. Listen, you mentioned this earlier as well, and I totally agree. I don't think I have ever seen a Chelsea side take a better set of penalties than they did that night.
Absolutely.
They were all, I mean, if you were critical, you could say Palmer's was the least good because it kind of just squeezed in off the post past the keeper. But the others, the keeper had absolutely no chance of saving them. And I thought Gallagher and Nkunku's penalties were outstanding. High and to the left. You don't stop those.
No, you don't. And then Mudryk just rolling it into the corner.
Yeah.
I thought the confidence that boy is beginning to get. It's a confidence building thing for me that for him. I think that.
It's our chairman.
It is. We bow down to the man of expertise and experience.
Good evening, gentlemen.
It's very lovely to see you. A lovely, pleasant Christmas surprise, my friend. How are you?
Oh, lovely to see you and lovely to see Jonathan so soon after a wonderful evening in his company on Tuesday.
Well, did you sit with him then in the end?
I did indeed in the end. It was
because I knew you were supposed to be going with your daughter or something.
I know she went with one of her friends, so I sat with JK.
Oh, how lovely! I didn't realise that.
A lovely evening, really enjoyable.
Thank you, and he was very tolerant of my saying goodbye to everybody at the end and hung around deliberately because other people have been forced to leave. They can't stand the fact that I'm always going bye 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 bye. But it's I always say goodbye to all the staff, and particularly because it was coming up to Christmas, I wanted to wish them well, compliments of the season, and also it gave you the opportunity to have that non-venison pie. Which one was it? Did you have? It was
It was turkey and cranberry.
Turkey and cranberry. Was it any good?
It was lovely. I had two.
And they've got the Chelsea stamp on them, which I find rather intriguing. Did it have a Chelsea stamp on it? Give a little badge.
It had the Chelsea stamp. Yeah. I should have sent it to Footy Scran online because it was very nice Scran indeed. Yeah.
Well, there we go. Mark, it's for those who haven't realised, we've just been joined by Mark Meehan, the wonderful, legendary Mark Meehan, because we don't know what's happened to Clayton. Let's hope he's okay, or just drunk somewhere. If Clayton's, found himself in a gutter somewhere because he's been on the piss all day, that I would roundly applaud that. But I do hope he's all right, genuinely. I'm kind of going to go back to the start, not because you just turned up, Mark, but I still think it's a point worth bearing out, which is, I wasn't there for, I have to work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's really hard to get away. And I know you obviously were sitting together, let alone there. But the atmosphere came across loudly. But I just thought that at the end of the match, when the players were very together, but they were also together with the fans. And, we've been bleating on, haven't we, about they just don't have any experience. They don't really know how to find a way to win, et cetera, et cetera. And I just thought, that night could prove really, really important, where they understand how important it is to win in a cup match, how important it is to the supporters, and how much together they can be with the supporters in a situation like that.
I know it was remarkable because there's been good games this season, and probably the two best games that we've had this season were the Man City and Arsenal games, where there was that interaction between crowd and team, but we didn't win. We had two very good draws. But winning in front of the crowd is good, but winning in the manner that they won was even better. Yeah, there's no better thing than winning in the last minute of a game, but actually getting a draw in the last minute to take it to penalties was just fantastic. And then winning on penalties was just incredible. The save by Petrovic was absolutely superb. Like, leaped like a salmon to sort of make that save. And I don't think he even realised the shootout was over. I think he just thought for a split second, well, I've saved my penalty, I'm doing my job, until all the players came running out. And then the players, I don't know if it was shown on television, the players actually did a lap of honour and they walked around the whole stadium and they played the Wigan Athletic Grig song.
Will Gregg's on fire, your defence is terrified.
And obviously they played Blue is the Colour and they played One Step Beyond. And just the atmosphere in all parts of the ground was just absolutely fantastic. It was a key moment.
You know what, Mark? That's a really good point, actually, because I noticed this even when I was watching it on the box. But I was really impressed. I mean, I'm giving the club some credit here. Good grief, it must be Christmas. But they actually hit One Step Beyond almost, seconds after that last penalty went in, which is really important. They got it. That's what you have to do. Don't hang around looking for the bloody 7-inch for half an hour. Seize the moment. And I think they did. And I think that really helped.
Top the end. Seize the day. Yeah. It was just like a 10, sort of 15-minute celebration after the game. Yeah, and people left, obviously, because it was an 8 o'clock kickoff and it went to penalties. But a large proportion of the crowd stayed in the stadium, celebrating, as you said earlier, with the players, as one together, players and supporters.
Yeah. JK, I wonder if we might look back on, we often, actually, funny enough, it's kind of ironic and lovely that Mark's here, because I remember we all talked about this when we were doing the review of I think it must have been 2004-05 season. And we all look back nearly 20 years later how important that Blackburn away game was. And it kind of really just bonded the team totally. I wonder if we might look back on Tuesday night as the day or the evening we started, I use my words carefully, we started to fall in love with this team a little bit.
Well, from our point of view, I think that's a very good observation, Chidge. But I just think it's up to now. History will then tell us whether this has been the moment where there was a surge of activity. But we've had a couple of false dawns already this season. Spurs and then Man City. And we were then faced with the appalling Everton and Man United performances. So let us see. I just think it was good to see some players who, not that we've written off, that we actually thought could do a lot better and weren't, do better. I was saying, Mark, I don't know if you heard that I thought that Mudryk is slowly but surely he's giving us some moments that are match winning. I thought he took the goal wonderfully, and I thought his penalty was wonderful as well. And I felt there was a sort of kind of love for him. I think there was love for all 4 penalty takers in particular, and Petrovic as a result of that really under pressure moment. Chidge wishes to say something.
No, because it's absolutely on point, JK.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Mudryk because he is an enigma wrapped around an enigma. I shall read you my notes that were written as the match was going on, because I was watching on the telly.
Yeah.
And this is also this was in almost real time. Where of course now I've lost them. Mudryk, awful cross, schoolboy stuff, no awareness or intelligence. Next line. So I wait, and then something else happens. Mudryk puts a good cross in from the left, and Burn almost heads it into Gallagher's path.
Yeah.
A bit further on, this is right at the end. Obviously, fuck me. Mudryk slams it home from a gusto cross, and Trippier fails to deal with it. Good goal, good finish. Fuck me. And then he puts that penalty away beautifully. And then he spoke afterwards on the telly. He did the interview, and he was really eloquent. And I mean. It's like Timo Werner again. It's hard not to love him. I'm finding it hard not to love him at the moment.
I agree. Even though the tattoo on his just up his ear makes me, I can't work out what it is.
It's a butterfly, isn't it?
Oh yes, that's right. It's a big butterfly. Yeah, there's something else. There's something else lower down that's a bit indistinguishable. Yeah, I want him to do well. That's the thing. We want them to do well. We so want them to do well. And when you see it in flashes, if somebody's shit all the time, you just think you kind of write them off. But if somebody does something excellent, I will keep going on about this. He is the fastest man in the league without any shadow.
Ukraine Bolt.
Yeah, very clever.
As Rob Dog said. Did you see my message to you?
Yeah.
I know you like
very
that.
Clever. Very clever.
Yeah, he's quick, isn't he? He's very, very quick.
Oh, God. But, I kept saying the no discernible football brain, is how I described him. But suddenly when he does that, and I felt the fact that he put himself through the penalty was phenomenal. Actually, I thought that he took the pressure was I was so impressed by that, because he's not been playing terribly well. But obviously, because he took the goal well, they obviously decided, well, he just put himself forward. And he takes good penalties in training. That's why they all ended up in that situation. He knows that Poch gives them who's going to be taking the penalties. He obviously scores good goals for penalties, which they must practice, because that's what you have to do nowadays. Despite some teams never practicing penalties and doing well, but I think that those days have gone, because the pressure is so enormous and their penalties are so frequent, because of the lack of time. I'll still go on about it. I'm disturbed that you only have 90 minutes and then you have to have penalties to decide a tie. I think that's just absurd. They should at least have another 30 minutes to just to find a different pattern, or allow it to have a proper ending, rather than the lottery of penalties. And yet they were fantastically prepared. And even Nkunku just showed how he clearly is a man of similar great confidence, because he hasn't played at all, and yet he just dispatched that penalty with ease. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great pen. Mark, are you any nearer than JK and I to answering the enigma that's wrapped around an enigma that is Mudryk?
Well, I can tell you what his tattoo says.
Okay, I knew you. Why did I know you'd know this?
Well, I was obviously the good Catholic boy in me. It says only Jesus. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's a man of faith.
In Ukrainian?
No, in English. It says only Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the other thing I'd say about Mudryk as well, scoring that goal does wonders for a player's confidence. You score a goal at a crucial part of the game, 90, I think it's 92 or 93 minutes. There wasn't much time left. You then go into the penalty shootout with a high level of confidence. And I thought his penalty was quite important, because it was 3-2, and you have that critical fourth penalty, where that so often happens when a team is winning in a penalty shootout. Someone misses the fourth penalty, the other side then get back level. And then a bit like how we were in Moscow, where John Terry and Anelka missed consecutive penalties. Yeah, so you have that sort of fourth penalty where if you miss it, they've got a chance to level. But if you score it, you make it 4-2, and you put even more pressure on to the next player from the opposing side coming up to take the penalty. Yeah, so it was a really good, as you said at the start. There was 5 very, very, very good penalties taken the other night. But again, I give a lot of credit to Petrovic as well. Excellent penalty save. Really, and that'll do wonders for us, because Sanchez is going to be out for a little while.
Well, he is.
And to be fair, Petrovic, he didn't have a lot to do the other night, because they didn't do a lot. Newcastle.
Exactly. So, one save. Yeah. I mean, the other thing that Mudryk did that really impressed me, and again, this is something that we've been bitching about for a long time, well, at least I have, is that when Guimaraes, who I think is an excellent player, but a dirty northern bastard. He's a bastard, isn't he, JK? But he cleaned Maatsen out.
Yeah.
And Mudryk, who's like a slip of a lad, went straight into him, grabbed him by the throat, and started saying, "Come on, then, let's have it, son." And I thought, fucking hell, brilliant. This is what we want. We want stand up for yourselves, you lot. Don't sit there pussying out.
We were critical of the players last season. Yeah. There was the example when Conor Gallagher was down on the ground. There was about 3 players from either Palace or West Ham kicking it, and no one stepped in. So you want to see teammates looking after their teammates. So again, another good example for Mudryk, sticking up for one of his teammates the other night.
You know what, guys? I'll tell you who I'm going to give some credit. I'm going to give Poch some credit here because, I mean, anybody who's ever been in management will know this, but, you cannot build team bonding and team unity overnight. It does take time and you have to go through shit together. But I think Poch is gradually really, bonding a team together here. If they start fighting for each other, literally as well as figuratively, then it's beginning to happen. And I mean, as I said, I go back to what we started with right at the end. They were they were all very together, and that's what you want to see. You want to see a team that is together, because if it isn't together, it's not a team. So fair play, Poch. All those barbecues are paying off, mate. Well done.
Did we find out what happened to Fernandes? Because
I mean, he said he was ill, but then I read somewhere that he might have a rather rather worrying persistent groin injury.
Yeah.
But I was hoping you would know more about that. Didn't they talk about it in the presser?
No, nothing. No, they didn't ask any questions about injured players other than Reece. For God's sake!
And who we fucking knew was injured.
Yeah.
He's just had surgery.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Yeah.
All right. Listen, we should talk about Connor. And I tell you what, I refuse until the end of January. I know that I won't be able to hold myself to this. But I mean, we did it on Monday. I'm not, or whenever we did the show, I'm not talking about Connor, is he staying or is he going bullshit anymore. I'm just sick to fucking death of it. But what I will say, I thought his performance again was outstanding.
Yes.
But I think more than that, I think he is at the moment, we're talking about this togetherness. I think he is the glue that binds it together, which is why Poch likes him and why Poch picks him, JK.
Well, I think he also picks him because he's playing fantastically. I mean, it's not just his joie de vivre. No, not just his abilities to link people together with his personality, but he never stops running. I mean, he's and as we've established, is occasionally overzealous, but he is so industrious. It's fantastic, and he allows other players around him to be creative as a consequence. But he's in the mix with everything. He's there every single triangle that's being played. It's him at the apex of it. We're
brilliant. Third apparently in the Premier League stats for winning the ball back in the the last third. Yeah. So winning it up top, and that is almost exclusively down to Conor Gallagher. And I mean, I saw some other thing today. I might have it on my phone actually, but I saw some stats today which are remarkable. Hang on, give me 1 sec. Here we go. Right. I'm presuming this is just in the Chelsea side rather than the Premier League as a whole. But these are Opta stats on this season. Yeah, it's the Chelsea team. But he is first in assists, chances created, tackles, interceptions, possession won in the final third, and distance covered. First in every single one. Now, okay, I know we poo-poo stats a lot, but you want to know how important it is to this side? Read that. Apparently, this club likes stats. Apparently, Winstanley and Stewart, the bozo lawyers we've got at the club, apparently they like stats. Have a fucking read, gentlemen, if you can.
Yeah, but Chidgey, aren't you overreacting? Because it could be. I know there's normally no smoke without fire.
I said I wasn't going to talk about it. That
exactly.
lasted, less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes, and you got angry. So, I mean,
I am angry about it.
I know, but nothing's happened.
I know. So it's worked then, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And how many players have we been linked with at Sporting Lisbon today?
Oh.
Yeah. And how many players we're going to get linked with between now and the end of January?
Oh.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Fake, just unsubstantiated nonsense.
I would laugh my cock off if we didn't buy anybody.
Okay,
I mean, I really would.
I'll hold you to that. I expect to see it in your hand.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to laugh it off literally because bizarrely enough, I still actually use it occasionally. So
mine's in a velvet.
My age.
Mine's in a velvet bag in the bedroom.
Next to the turkey base. Anyway, yeah, Gallagher, the boy did good, didn't he, Mark?
I know he did good, and I think the other thing as well is you got the African nations coming up. Obviously, we'll lose a couple of players there to it. We have had a huge amount of injuries. We've got suspensions, I imagine, coming because players are picking up cards. I think we had 4 or 5 booked the other night as well. I don't think they carried forward the Premier League game, but we're getting our fair share. We're going to need a big squad anyway, so I don't see this. Why we need to offload players or even buy any more players? Because if we buy more players, it puts increased pressure from FFP on us. The only thing we should buy, as you said, is probably a top class striker. But hopefully, if we do that, the players that are likely to go will cover the cost of that in terms of FFP. That we don't even need to contemplate selling Gallagher. Like again, this is the whole thing of people just completely lose it on social media. I saw today that Gallagher was going to Tottenham, and we're getting Højbjerg as part of the player exchange deal. Really? Who makes? We need to go back to making up rumours. It's just that people just get so carried away with it, and you sort of think, like, lighten up. It's nearly Christmas, for crying out loud. People are just doing that for clicks. Højbjerg, really? Yeah. It's not that. I'm optimistic. Look, at the end of the day, if they thought they could get 50 million for him, would they sell him? I wouldn't rule that out. But where things at the club at the present moment in time, the last thing you should be thinking about doing is selling Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, no, I think we'd all be in agreement with that. I tell you what, though, something's occurred to me. There is a real dearth of world-class strikers around at the moment. We've said this many times on the show, and there really is very few compared to when we were kids. You grow up, growing up, there'd be loads of them, but not anymore. So, I mean, I would rather. I mean, I think buy somebody who's worth buying, or don't fucking bother, is how I would look at it. I really would.
But you know what's going to happen, Chidge, don't you? They'll find somebody in South America who'll turn up and play 30 minutes and be shit, and then we'll never see him again.
Well, let's hope not. Now, somebody that we were delighted to see come back was Nkunku, of course. He came on in the 69th minute. And I think, we have to be very realistic here. He's been out for 6 months nearly. And, it's going to take him. I mean, oddly, I'm quick tease, I did put him in my team for Sunday, but there's no way on God's earth he's going to start, I think, because Poch is going to ration his minutes and manage him back. And that is very sensible. As he was kind of saying that in the presser today, wasn't he? But I don't think we should expect too much from him. It's going to take him time to bed in, and also, more to the point, bed into the Premier League, which is, it's the same old stuff with all these new players. It's going to take them time to bed into the Premier League. But did you see anything at all, boys, that JK first, that made you think, okay? I was particularly impressed by his pass into touch, I have to say, which I did write in my notes. I thought I shall tell you what I did. Hang on, I've got to find it because Nkunku passes the ball into touch with the, hands up in the air. The shrug emoji. What the fuck? But I mean, I don't think we can judge him on that. It'll take time, really.
He did absolutely fuck all.
I know. He got in the way of something. Actually, no, because Sterling did a shit pass, which gave him no chance. If he'd done a decent pass, then he might have had a chance to score. Do you remember that?
No.
Sterling ran at them right down the middle.
Yeah.
And, the defenders were trying to close him down. He got just to the edge of the penalty area, and Nkunku was in space, kind of coming in from the left, and he just put a really shit ball through, and Nkunku had no chance to do anything with it. Yeah. So we still don't know.
No.
But there you go. But hey, I mean, it'll come, I think. We just got to be patient. The same, I mean, Poch was saying that about Lavia today, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah. One hopes, he contributed, so Jackson had done very little in the game. So, I just think we've been, we were so all over Newcastle and contained them from what they wanted to do, which was to try and just get us on the break, that I thought we did very well doing that in the game. I know it was a bit dull for some people who just thought we were slowing the game down, but as I've said in the in the second half when Gusto came on and then Maatsen as well, it was a completely different proposition.
Yeah,
and we looked a much better side.
I'd agree with JK that there was an intensity about Newcastle, particularly in that first half. They do press fast and they do press high.
Very good pressers.
And they were very, it was like JK and I were talking about, they were so well drilled and so well organised from the back to the front. And every time we were in possession, and they were really sort of pressing very, very quickly. And we were sort of making mistakes. But as the game went on, the second half, I think the other thing that eventually Poch did get it right. But this, and I believe it cropped up in the press conference today, this continuing playing centre halves at full back, it didn't work the other night. Now we've been getting Dizazi's pronunciation wrong, haven't we? It's what's it? The guy behind us, what did he say, JK?
Dizazi.
Dizazi. Yeah. You pronounce it Dizazi.
And that would be the French way of saying it, actually.
The guy behind was French. That was the reason.
And the weirdness about that is that on my phone, my mate in France, who I stayed with, and in September, was phoning me as you were saying that, probably to say, chaps, it's Dizazi, not Dizazi.
Yeah.
But if I'd answered the phone, we could have known that definitively, couldn't we?
Yeah, the guy said it's like, he said Dizazi, and I think it's great having him in the side for his height. And I think we're sport now that we've got a number of very good centre-backs and anyone can play in that central pair. But he's not really a right-back, and Colwell
definitely isn't.
Certainly is not a left-back, although they're doing a job for the team. The manager puts him in the team. But I thought it was remarkable. It was a strange substitution because Colwell, it was the right substitution for Colwell to go off. But logic would have brought Maatsen on there.
Yeah.
And he didn't bring on Maatsen until late, and he put Gusto on there. And Gusto was superb both on left and right.
He was.
But the moment Maatsen came on to the left and Gusto moves to the right, that latter part of the game with Gusto on the right, because there was so much space in the second half on Dizazi's side of the pitch. But the frustrating thing was, every time he got the ball, and I have a lot of sympathy for Jackson, Jackson was moving and he was in the box and he was there, but so often Dizazi just passed it sideways to Gallagher. Many times we said, no. Well, the moment Gusto came over to the right, the first thing he did was put a cross in, and it was obviously Gusto's cross that eventually led to Mudrik's goal. So Poch got the tactics right in terms of the formation, more towards the latter part of the game. And I think moving into the weekend, you've got to think about Gusto and Maatsen.
I mean,
if other players aren't available.
But as we'll discover in the press conference, he made it pretty obvious that he's not going to start with Gusto.
Yeah, I mean because he's. I mean that's why he didn't bring him on until late, Mark, because he's coming back from injury.
And there was a moment in the game as well, I think, just before the penalties, when, if you remember, Mark, we pointed out that he was having some. Not surgery, but he was having a lot of interest from the doctor who changed his bandage. He got a bandage on of some kind. Yeah. So I think whatever he had, I don't know what his original injury was. I think it may have been a groin or something. But he was setting up a kind of one of those bandages that seems to support you and leaves the knee open. I don't know what it was, but he was having it rebandaged. So he's obviously he obviously had a difficult injury.
He is. I mean, do you know Louis Benavitti? I can never pronounce his name. Yeah. He's a lovely lad. I caught this on Twitter. I thought he nails this. Continuing to play Levi Colwill at left back is damaging to both him and to the team.
Yes.
You can tell he's so uncomfortable playing there and he's constantly targeted. And I thought, Louis, you nailed it, son.
Yep.
That's exactly it, isn't it?
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. I think Colwill is a very good player.
But not a left back.
Can't keep playing him at left back.
I totally agree.
He gets very frustrated and actually takes it out on some of the opposition as well. You can see that he becomes a bit hot-headed. Colwill.
Well, as our resident psychotherapist, I would say you've been saying this for weeks, JK. You've nailed it. He's displacing his anger at himself onto other people.
Absolutely.
I feel for him really, but because he wants to. Look, on the other side of that coin is. He's prepared to play there. He wants to play. He wants to make an impact.
But he wouldn't get in. He wouldn't get in if he wasn't.
I applaud that, in a way. But I think it needs to stop and play. We need to play him where he's supposed to play. Now, listen, let's round this part up with the obvious end to it, which is we've lucked. Well, I don't want to tempt fate, but if you'd have given me a choice of Liverpool, Fulham, and Middlesbrough, I would have chosen Middlesbrough for the semi-final, Mark.
I thought the balls might have been in the fridge and we might have drawn Fulham. So you end up perhaps with a guaranteed North or South final. But you can say the same thing applies as well, that Fulham and Middlesbrough are obviously the teams presume that will obviously get knocked out by Chelsea, Liverpool, and you get your Chelsea and Liverpool final. But you take Middlesbrough, and we've got a good cup record against Middlesbrough over the years. Always seem to beat them 2-0.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm happy with that. Mark's happy with that. JK?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. You were contemplating going, you were saying before we went on air, didn't you?
Yes, it would just be the hotel. I'm not sure I could deal with that
particularly. Do they have hotels in Middlesbrough?
No, I think you just lie on the floor in a cowshed. But and of course they do. It's highly advanced up there. I've been there a few times to the Riverside Stadium.
A few bus shelters you can always sleep in, no doubt.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Actually, the village there's a village there called Yarm or something where all the footballers live, which I've been to, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, that's right. There is a bus back from Middlesbrough bus station about 1:30 in the morning. It gets back into
to London.
Yep, gets back into Hammersmith. Seriously. There's a company called Flixbus, Flix, Flixbus, and you can leave Middlesbrough at 1:30 in the morning and get back to Hammersmith at about 6 o'clock.
Bloody hell. Yeah. Live and learn.
You ever get any sleep on the coach as a consequence, or?
Well, I suppose you can sleep on a coach. Yeah.
Well, I think it would be remiss of me not to go to the home leg, certainly. So I shall be. I will see if I can move my two clients. I've got clients all day on a Thursday, but I've got one at 4:10 and one at 5:30. I reckon I can move them. And if I leave at 4, I'm still going to be there in time because it'd be an 8 o'clock kickoff. So I shall be there. I can't miss a semi-final. I mean, I remember last year we were all saying, well, that Liverpool semi could be the last one we see for a while. The Liverpool final, and it's true, it could be. So I think it's behoving upon me to go, JK.
No, I know, and again, I think what I'd say is I think it's important for the manager as well. That game the other night, if we'd gone out to Newcastle, you'd get all the sort of silly speculation again because, like, just before the game the other night, I got a phone call from BBC Radio London, so they asked me to come on and preview the game, and they asked me about Pochettino's future. And I just sort of said, like, we've got a really good manager here. They have to give him time, irrespective of what happened. And I said we'd beat Newcastle. But I said, irrespective of that, you've got to give this guy time because you could see it even in the penalty shootout. It wasn't just the sort of the traditional players lining up at the halfway line for the shootout. It was the bench who didn't play. It was the whole entourage. I've never seen so many puffy black jackets on a touchline.
Well, I have whenever we play an Italian side.
Yeah. There was just like wall to wall black puffy jackets on the touchline, and they were all the players. The backroom staff, everybody came off the bench and were all there together. I haven't seen that many people on the touchline probably since the game of American football.
Yeah,
I think the fact that we're in the semi-final will boil so many people's piss because they've already decided that we're a non-team.
Finished.
We're finished,
man.
Yeah. And so if we get to the final and then if we happen to actually win it, that would really, so many people would be pissed off by that because it would be Chelsea win another trophy and yet they're supposed to be down and out,
It would be. I mean, I'm not getting ahead of ourselves here at all. I mean, but it would be truly remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue if we were to win this, it'll possibly be the most remarkable trophy win we've ever had. Coming from the only one that might compare is when if we had beaten Man United in 1994 instead of getting humped 4-0, that would have been unbeatable. But I think this will be the most remarkable trophy we've ever won because we are still, let's not forget, totally in the shit. So anyway, we shall see. We've got to get through the semi first, and I do love a semi. I also love to see it. Thank you, JK. It always helps when you laugh. I'm delighted to state, as I always do around this time of the show, that the CFC UK, which I also love, the CFC UK fanzine, has a new-ish issue out. The new one came out against Sheffield United. I haven't read it yet, actually, bizarrely. I've not, as Marco asked me the other day, I still haven't even read mine yet. But I did write one called Fubar, which kind of was in sync beautifully with the show we did called Fubar. I know Mark's written one which has got JK's dad in it.
Yes, how lovely.
Yes,
gave me a copy. How sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
But there you go. So go and get it. No, look, obviously you get it on a match day and you just listen for them going, hurry up, it's only £1. But if you can't go to the match, don't worry. You can subscribe by emailing fanzine@cfcuk.net. It's 20 quid for a year subscription in the UK, 45 quid if you're in Europe, 60 if you're in the rest of the world, where you can get a digital copy emailed to you, and you can subscribe to that version for 6 quid a year or £1 each, and you can pay via PayPal. And I'm thinking of I'm going to email it actually tonight, because I'm going to go and get it for my nephew, because I wonder if he gets it. So there we go. And of course, the other thing you can do, it being this time of the year, Christmas, you can buy a Chelsea pitch owner's share, which of course means you have a say, a very powerful say, in what happens to the ground going forward, with all the talk of redeveloping it or moving it. None of that really gets the go-ahead unless the CPO agree. So if you want to have a bit of clout and a bit of a say in that, you better get yourself a share. 110 quid for an electric share, 175 there or thereabouts for a framed share signed by a Chelsea player. And if you want one, go to the chelseafc.com website and search for Chelsea pitch owners. We will be back to talk about the Wolves-Chelsea game in a nanosecond. All right.
I went down to Earls Court the other day.
Oh yes, I saw your note on Slack. Actually, was it really good?
It's very impressive. I have to say. So they've been doing a drop-in consultation, and we were down there to sort of visit Barron's Sports Homeless Project. So it's just 5 minutes down the road. So we popped in before the consultation closed, and we got a mini guided tour of all the sort of the vision for Earls Court over the next 15 to 20 years. And I have to say, it does look very impressive. There's this huge model of like Earls Court and the surrounding area, what it will be like. There's maps of all the different phases. There's going to be different phases of flats, retail, sort of like commercial offices, etc. Well thought out, well planned. And we had to ask, and it's quite funny, this other guy came in and we were eavesdropping at his conversation, and we had to ask the eternal question about a football stadium. And what they said is there has been, and there are not any plan in the future to have a football stadium there. It's just not part of the conversation. They are going full steam ahead with their master plan. They've revising the master plan. They're talking about planning application to both councils in 2024 for the first phase. And in terms of the timeline, I think they're aiming sort of like for boots on the ground, shovels in the ground by 2026. Yeah. But it is a very, very impressive looking development. Yeah. And I didn't realise how big the site actually is. It sort of runs from like West Brompton Station, see where the Earls Court Arena was, all the way back almost to West Kensington Station. It really is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. So we ain't moving there then, by the sounds of it.
It doesn't look very likely on what we saw the other day.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Welcome back. This is the Chelsea Fancast, the Friday night preview show. I am Stanford Chidgey, and I'm joined by the slightly poorly JK, actually. Yeah. Worried about you, mate. Poor old love. Get some rest, man.
Yeah, I don't think
Seriously.
It's rest. I think it's just, time of the year, Chidge. And it's the fact that I'm 103, I think.
I know. Well, you know what?
Irrespective
Irrespective of your rather advanced years, I'm still not 100% after that bloody flu thing I got in November. Yeah. So I think whatever anybody's getting at the moment, it's hanging around like a bad smell.
We should never have hugged.
I know. Don't tell everybody else. No, anyway, we have a guest. He's a special. He's off the bench tonight.
Oh yeah. He was listening in at the beginning, wasn't he? And he realised that the Clayton Bierman, the housewife's choice, was off with the housewife. No, that's unfair.
Yeah.
He was. He
might have been.
He hadn't turned up. He's not on. So there he was. He
he might be ill. I've just had a thought because I know his good lady was suffering from COVID, so he may have got that.
Or perhaps he's looking after her. Yes, we must inquire.
Yeah, I shall ping him a message to say I hope he's all right.
We have a marvellous substitute who was listening in and thrown himself into it as usual with his fantastic expertise. It is, of course, the superb Mark Meehan.
Yes, indeed.
It was absolutely lovely to be on here with you both just before Christmas, revelling in a wonderful evening at Stamford Bridge the other night, and we're in a cup semi-final.
Indeed,
marvellous.
And
yeah.
And you've experienced sitting with JK in the posh seats as well.
It was lovely. It really was a very, very enjoyable evening, and the people on our table were predominantly Newcastle fans.
Yes, they were.
What the fuck?
I know.
Yes, they were.
But they were all London Newcastle fans.
They're
as well,
London
weren't
Newcastle
they?
What were they doing in there?
Well, hospitality, providing you're allowed in hospitality if you're an opposing fan, providing you don't wear any colours and you don't celebrate a goal and you don't misbehave. And they were very well behaved, very articulate, very well spoken.
They didn't speak Geordie then.
They didn't speak Geordie. Why I man? No, none of that. But they talked passionately about their team. But I think they were almost like shell shocked at the end of it because clearly, at half time, JK are going in for a half time cup of tea and cake, and it's like, how the hell are we thrown? Because that was the only chance they had, and we just we looked like we were going to throw the game by just an absolute horrendous error for that first goal for them.
There were three errors at once, weren't there, Mark? The three, the terrible Colwill pass, then the kind of silver knot.
Four errors.
4 errors all at once, were there? Yeah.
Shit pass.
Yeah.
Shit control.
Yeah.
Shit touch by Silver.
Yeah.
And shit touch by Badiashile.
Yeah. Well, Badiashile
Keystone cops, mate.
Trying to be clever, Badiashile, trying to hook it left away from the
just
goalkeeper.
Fucking clear it, mate.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Just pass it back or clear it.
The more we waffle on about this, the less time we have to hear about JK's review of the presser.
Hey. Thank you. Yes, the review of the presser. Well, it was interesting. He was asked about the first question was completely meaningless shit. I think the whole thing was. He was asked about James's recovery from his surgery, and he waffled on about how with a smiley face everybody around will help him to be strong and positive, and he said it, and the chap said, how long will it be, do you think? And he said, weeks, months. Important to see him day by day as part of the team. Then he said 7 or 9 months. And then he said weeks. And you just thought, he doesn't care about this. It's a stupid question. It was absolutely meaningless shit. He said something about the way his body is going to text and the damage. And I thought, what the fuck is that? The body is going to text and the damage. What are you talking about, Poch? I just think he was thinking, why am I being asked this ridiculous question about James? All right, what they meant by it was there's going to be huge support from the team. He can't wait for him to be out of surgery because then he can be he's very good around the team. He's because he's captain and because of his experience, and they all like him, and he wants him to be part of the group as soon as possible, even if he's not playing, because that it's good for morale, it's good for the whole setup of the group. So that was what he was saying. And then he was asked, would Nkunku get more minutes and how exciting was it? And once again, he sort of did a slight intake of breath at the stupidity of the question. And he said, everyone want to see him feet and ball on the game. And I thought, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Poch. But anyway, we know very well the quality, he said, but need to be patient and provide the capacity to find his best form. Well, yeah, you're stating the bleeding obvious, but it was a stupid question. And yes, what he meant by that was he's going to have him in the once again in the group again and bring him on. He's not going to start him because he said to play from the beginning too early, few weeks, few games, but not at the moment, which makes sense because he's going to introduce him as and when, which makes absolute sense. He was asked about Kanagolika. That's very good. I like that. Kanagolika. He was asked about Kanagolika.
Is he a new signing from South America?
Very good.
17 or something like that?
This chap said he's got 18 months on contract. And I was asked him, what are you saying to your board? And And he was very keen, Poch, to say it was between the club and the player. And I have to say, in this instance, he revealed nothing. He just said, I coach the team and I make the best choice tomorrow. And the moment he's doing fantastic for the team, but it's about the club and the players. So basically, he didn't want to commit to any answer at all, which is fair enough. He's the coach. But I don't know what information he's got. It was like, he batted it away and he wasn't prepared to be involved. He says, always I try to give my best advice. I love to work with owners and sporting director and the player, which muddied the water even more. But it's the best decision.
The player's the principal character, apparently.
Apparently, but it's the best.
No, he said principal actor.
That's right. He mention the word actor. You're right. Yeah. But it's the best decision for the club. It's always about clubs, and players need to decide. But once again, to me, is neither one thing or the other. I don't actually know what he's saying, and he was really not wanting to commit himself about this, which actually, from my point of view, made me think there is possibly something in this, and that he will be transferred. Bizarrely, because he didn't say no, it's not going to happen. No, he's a great player. He didn't say,
well, because you can never say never. So I can understand why he wouldn't commit. I mean, it could also mean that he's thinking about it in terms of the fact that Connor hasn't signed his contract.
Indeed, because he was spent 18 months to go. He was then asked about a young lady asked a whole series of questions that he really liked. Now,
she's great, by the way. She was at the Canners Do. She was emceeing the Canners Do.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, was it Sharia?
That's it.
That's right. Yes, right. Yeah. He in fact just kept smiling and saying, "Good question. Good question. Good." And you thought, but these are obvious questions. Why? Well,
they're not so obvious that the actual journalists ask them, are they?
No, the journalists never answer them. Yeah, but it's the kind of question that we would ask.
Exactly.
But I don't get it. Why? But he was happy to ask because he thought they were good football questions.
Exactly.
Because she's
a supporter, so she gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what the fuck are the journalists doing then? They ask these stupid questions about,
Because they're taking instructions from their editors who want it for fucking clickbait.
Who want the clickbait. Yeah. I get you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, she asked for Colwell over Maatsen, and he liked the question. Gusto not 90 minutes. And she said, yes, I understand. He actually said, you are very good, he said to her, which was great. And then was asked about Madueke, and it was very interesting because he said there's massive competition in the squad and he needs to increase his level. And what we got from that was he's not training well enough. And that's why he's not in the team, because he's not playing well enough and he's now injured. And I thought that, it makes perfect sense, is what you expect a coach to say, what you expect a coach to do. If the guy's not training very well, he doesn't get in the team, if he's not up to the level. And when he has come on, he hasn't played well, once again, proving that he's not playing well in training. So, but he's now injured, so that's out of the window. Also, the question was, a Newcastle win, will it influence the group? And he said there was a good energy. Fans react well to what's going on the pitch, which I thought was very interesting. It's what we've been saying the last few weeks, which is one of the reasons that the atmosphere hasn't been great. It's because the team's not been playing very well. The team plays well, and you can see what they're doing, and there's effort. It's always been the case. If the team makes an effort and they're playing competently, and if they lose and it's unlucky, you're still behind them. The fact they play well and won, the team is the supporters are going to be absolutely behind them.
I think she missed a trick with that question, or Poch didn't quite understand it.
I think because a lot of that goes on. Yeah.
Frankly, she should have asked the question that I asked at the beginning, which is, does he think that this was a real moment where the team and the supporters bonded together? He received it as was the support good?
Yes,
which was not what. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think she meant that anyway. What he said, he said we need to use the experience for the future. Which is a bit, it's a bit cliched, all part of the process to grow, step by step, getting good. But he made the thing still far away, which obviously it's in terms of his ultimate view of what he'd like the team to be. It is far away, but it's actually it's a sort of cushion of relief for him if we do play well and then dip down a bit, because he can just say, well, the team isn't prepared. I think if it flatlined and all got worse and worse and worse, then you'd have to be questioning his ability, as people have been trying to do. But the fact that they won, as you said earlier, Mark. It pulls him out of the mire and gives him a way out, really, of saying, no, look, we're coming. It's in maybe fits and starts, but we're seeing some growth and some progress, which is it's the truth. We are. And he was asked about his wedding anniversary because it's tomorrow, and then he was asked about another journalist, how important are the next three, and he just said, rather cliched, all games are all tough, all a challenge. And then he made the great statement, our objective is to win, which I think was something he really regretted saying, but he carried on. Masses for us to win the 3 games, he said. Then he was asked a question about the Super League, and he just tossed it off by saying thoughts are the same as the club. Completely agree with the statement. Difficult to know or understand how would it happen. He's focused on the club. Too many question marks. And then he was asked about Lavia, and he got annoyed with the journalist, and absolutely sort of went for him. He was annoyed why a journalist was always asking why players not playing. This particular journalist, I can't remember the guy, but he always he said, you are pushing. And it's exact. Lavia is the same as Nkunku. He's doing well, but needs time. He may be involved in the squad, i.e., he may pick him as a sub, or he may be there for the day. But players with a big period off are desperate to be involved, but at which level? There is serious competition, and they need to understand they need to train really hard every day to have an impact. It's not a charity, he said. We must win. In other words, what he's saying is the level of competition, as we've been saying the last few weeks, the team has evolved without them, and it's difficult for them to get back in. They do not have a right to get back in just because they're big signings. They have to impress and show that they're part of the team, or show that they're at a level that gets them into the first team and gets them picked, which I thought was very well stated, but absolutely pretty obvious for this annoying journalist. And he carried on with it. I'm disappointed the player can't play. It's not because we don't believe in him. There are other players more ready than this guy, he said. It's about who is ready to compete. It's actually said, it's annoying me that you are annoyed or questioning me. We need balance here, he said. And I thought that was, and that was when it ended, on a kind of slightly fractious note. But yes, it's pretty obvious that that's going to be the case, isn't it? It's not going to be just because Lavia played well at Southampton and was an expensive purchase doesn't mean he has a right to get into the side. He has to be judged on his performances in training. And that makes great sense. And then he has to be nurtured into the Premier League to see whether he's at the level, because it's supremely athletic playing in the Premier League. As we're finding out, Nkunku will take some time to get in, and Lavia is obviously at the stage where he's almost fit enough, but is nowhere near able to compete with them. So I thought it was a very interesting press conference, just because it confirmed lots of the stuff that we've been bringing up in the.
If you had to put a mark out of 10 on it, what would you give it?
Well, he does that thing of, he just sort of goes along with some stuff, which, he's about 2 out of 10 for that. And occasionally he speaks rubbish. It's because his English, he loses his. I almost want to say, he started talking about, he was listening to the business about the Super League on a Spanish station, and I wanted to say to him, don't do that, mate, because your English needs lots of improvement. Just listen to Radio 5 Live or something, or listen to Talk Sport. Listen to something that's got
not if you want to learn English.
No, that's an English that perhaps. A more colloquial sort of English.
Listen to Radio 4, dear boy.
I'm so sorry. Of course, it should be Radio 4, shouldn't it? Yes. And then Poch will appear speaking terribly like
what
that,
is it?
won't it?
RP?
Yes, RP. Pochettino. Pochettino. But
received Pochettino.
Received Pochettino. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'd give it about 7.
Okay, that's pretty good. I thought he was good today, and I know he went off on a bit of a rant and he got passionate, but I thought it was quite funny the way he kept on reining himself in and being quite jovial about it as well. Actually, But I actually, do you know what? I'm really warmed to him watching the presser today. I have to say, I like him. I'm beginning to like him. But there you go. Well done, JK. Marvellous review as always. A couple of things I want to pick up on. One of which was picked up in obviously during the presser, but very serendipitously we've got Mark here tonight, who, as we know, is our captain, leader, legend of the Chelsea Supporters Trust, El Presidente. Mark, two things that I know that the trust is hugely if I say involved in, it might give the wrong impression, but it's been very high up on our agenda, I would say, for a long time. And the first, of course, is the fact that the European Super League is rearing its ugly head again because they won the court case, didn't they, in the European courts? And then that odious A22 company was putting out stupid lying videos. So there's that. And the other one, of course, is something the Trust have been very involved with over the last week. And of course, this is the fact that Christmas Eve football can hashtag get stuffed. So off you go. Tell us all about that.
Where shall I start? If we start with, obviously, the European Super League, as you said, they had the decision yesterday from the European Court of Justice. We issued our statements this morning, welcoming the statement that Chelsea made yesterday. So that was a positive thing by the club. No surprise to anybody. The position of the trust hasn't changed. It's crystal clear. We don't support any attempt for Chelsea or for the Premier League clubs, for that matter, to be part of a new sporting structure through A22. When we had the bidding process, and I was the one who actually met with Todd Bowley. I was in the Todd Bowley meeting. So we made our position clear to Todd and to all the other bidders as well throughout that sort of sales process. And I think that was understood. That was accepted by Todd. And we've done that on a number of occasions to Todd and the administration since, just reminding them of what we actually said to them during the bidding process, what they agreed with us. And again, at the end of the day, I can't see this flying. I think it was remarkable how quickly the 6 clubs from last time, it was quite embarrassing really, because actually I was quite surprised Tottenham made a mistake. Because I thought they weren't in the Super League. They're not big enough, but they were. They were one of the 6. But I think if you look at it a little bit closer, what was remarkable is their statements were virtually all identical. So clearly a conversation was taking place before the judgment was made by the European Court of Justice, or they moved very quickly yesterday collectively to get an agreed statement across the Premier League for all the impacted clubs. Because if you actually put them together, I think the Manchester United, Tottenham, Chelsea ones, maybe I think similar. The Arsenal one's pretty similar as well. It's almost word perfect. So they're saying exactly the same thing. But of course they have to say that thing. They're not going to say, oh, we're going to be part of the Super League. Otherwise, you're going to have a repeat situation of 2021. It hasn't gone away. It just reminds everybody of the importance of having the independent regulator. Now, the regulator has been appointed on an interim basis. So I can't remember what his name was. I think he previously involved in ground safety. So he's been appointed. I went to a meeting, although I've not yet seen the minutes of it, so I can't say too much. But I went to a meeting with the Premier League and Richard Masters the other week. And the Premier League are welcoming the regulator. So let's see how that relationship plays out. The plan is still for the government to get it through this parliamentary process. So let's see what happens in the new year. But again, the Trust says no to a Super League or any change to existing sporting structures that Chelsea Football Club have been part of for many, many years. And in terms of Christmas Eve football can get stuffed, there'll be some comms tomorrow. There likely to be some news outlets picking up on the statement we've issued that's embargoed at this present moment in time. But clearly, we'll reminded everyone what our position is. I think we congratulate all 3,000 people that are making that journey up to Molineux on Sunday. But it shouldn't have happened. The game should not have been played. at 1:00 on Sunday. And already, I don't know if you've seen today, but there's warning signs coming from the West Midlands about fans and journeys and getting back after the game. So there's trains being cancelled, there's staff shortages. It's going to be a real fun fight to get those trains back to London by the sounds of things at the early mornings. And then we had the situation last night. I don't know if it's repaired itself today, where there's real issues at Euston Station. So I take the hat off to the people that are travelling up there on Sunday. We've got absolutely fantastic supporting our football club, but they should not be placed in that position. That game should not have gone ahead at 1:00. And even going further, because people do say it is a global game and it isn't just about the match-going supporters, Mark. Someone chastised me recently. What about the people watching television around the world? Well, that's no bloody good either. Because if you think our largest supporter base is in North America, now if the game is kicking off at 1:00 on Sunday, our fans in America, they're going to have to get up a bloody early time to watch the game. Now, I know they do that on a frequent basis to their credit, but at the same time, they're not even making it easy for your worldwide audience to watch this game by having it on at 1:00. So not much of it sort of like is actually lending itself to like a positive decision, especially when there was a slot vacant tomorrow night that they could have used and they chose not to. So we don't support the game being played on Christmas Eve, but there's not a lot we can do about it now. The game is going ahead frustratingly.
Well, you know what, Mark, there's not much we can do in terms of protesting this, because, you know, if you throw anything onto the ground, you can get taken out by the stewards. If you take a banner in which they haven't condoned, you can get thrown out. You know, basically, if you fart out of place, you can get thrown out. So there's very little that we can actually do. I mean, the other thing is, of course, we can say, as I advocated, I think, in a recent trust meeting, we can just sit there saying fuck Sky and BT for 90 minutes. But, of course, what they'll do is just feed in some different sounds that will drown it out. So there's very little we can actually do at the game to protest this, isn't there?
No, it's a good point. And a game, a stadium like Molineux doesn't lend itself well to a protest either. I do admire the way some German clubs deal with these things. I think my recent examples, I think there was a demonstration in German football this week where I think the fans stayed silent for 12 minutes. So they just didn't make any noise, just basically saying, without us, you know, this game is nothing. German fans have also thrown tennis balls onto the pitch in the past. I think Borussia Dortmund quite recently in a Champions League game threw pretend goal bars, you know, onto the pitch. But as you say, I think they're probably less lenient in Europe to things like that. Here, they'd probably just eject people from the ground. And I wouldn't want to see any Chelsea supporter kicked out of the ground for throwing a tennis ball or a goal bar onto the pitch. But there might be, who knows? You know, Chelsea supporters might make their point made vocally, and I'm sure Wolves fans might do the same. Because surprisingly, it's really impacted Wolves fans even more so than Chelsea. Not because of the demand for away tickets. As we always thought, the away section did sell out. So, and there'll be some people getting to see their first away game of the season. So every cloud, silver lining, etc. But Wolves have been struggling to sell tickets in the home end. That I think for the first time ever, I think they're doing. You can buy 2 or 3 tickets as season ticket holders to try and fill the stadium. So it might be that Wolves supporter space, although traditionally will be forming in and around the sort of West Midlands and Wolverhampton area, they clearly must go further afield because even their fans are struggling, you know, to get to this game. And again, as I said earlier, with the problems with the trains, I don't envy people getting back. I congratulate the club. They're running 3 coaches up there. They might want to bring a couple of extra ones on Sunday with nobody on it, just in case, you know, people get stranded and they've got to help people get back to London sort of Sunday afternoon, evening. But again, there was no need for this game to be played at 1:00. They found that extra slot. It could have been played on the Saturday night. It was just so unnecessary. But you're also seeing it. Look at the FA Cup this season. The games they're showing on television on the FA Cup. Tottenham, Burnley. Yeah, look at the Burnley fans. They've got to travel down for that. It's look. Yeah, the problem is at some point something will give on this, because the whole point of this being the best league in the world and being the spectacle that it is because of the supporters in the stadium. If the supporters aren't there, it's not half the spectacle that it is, and that's where all the money comes from, the full stadium. 15 million people have watched the Premier League this season. you hold it up to any league in the world, any league in Europe. This, as they say, product works well for the TV companies, and there's only so much they can push. And there is a bit also. The Premier League clubs can push back. They probably don't realise the power that they have. Yes, they've got to sort of take the money, but at the same time, they can say to the TV companies, no, we're not going to have Team A versus Team B at such and such a time on a Friday night or Thursday night, for example. There's plenty of other days in the week you can show this game, plenty of other times. It's going to get, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better once the 25-26 deal comes in, because as we know, we've said it on the show before, there's even more games that are actually going to be on television, and all the games that will be at 2:00 on a Sunday will now all be on, where they're not all on at the present moment in time.
I agree, Mark. And I mean, I just wish we could find a way to get back at the TV companies, because actually, I know from my time as chairman, they are always the problem, and the Premier League basically just roll over and get their tummies tickled by them. It's
I think this is where, and again, because I have to wait for the minutes to be published, and they haven't been published yet, because I went to the Football Supporters Association meeting with the Premier League. I think as football supporters, there's more that unites us than divides us.
Yeah.
And I think where this is probably headed is greater collaboration. The only way it will be is greater collaboration between all of the clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and individual clubs when they play. I think that's the only way. You don't do this in isolation.
No, you've got to make a stand collectively. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Good work, Mark. I'm very lucky to have you on tonight to talk about that. JK, it's your probably favourite time of the week.
Teams, the colourful teams.
Little diagrams, graphics with my team on there. Now, listen, I have to fess up tonight, because I don't know why. I didn't feel quite as knackered last night as I expected I would. So I did all of this last night. And of course, now realise that I've probably got it completely wrong now, having heard the presser. So I've done a bit of a schoolboy error, done a bit of a Badia Shield, mate. So I don't think half of this team are going to play that I've picked. So I got a bit excited. So basically, I kind of decided that because it was so clearly much more effective, I've gone for Maatsen, Silva, Badia Shield and Gusto, and obviously Petrovic in goal. When actually, I don't think Gusto will start. And I don't think he likes Maatsen. So I think it'll be goal with Silva, Badia Shield and how do we say it, Mark?
Dizazi.
Yeah. So there you go. But my wish would be for Maatsen and Gusto, because they can actually play in their right positions. Although I think Gusto is still carrying an injury, so I can see the sense in that. Now, and I also, in my wildest imagination, had decided that I would pick Nkunku, because I desperately want to see him play. And of course, he ain't going to start either, so I fucked up there.
But this is Chidgey's team, isn't it? We've got
Chidgey's Fantasy 11. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I kind of presumed that Enzo's going to be out for Sunday as well. And now I hear that might not be the case. So what I've done is I've done a 4-2-3-1, largely because I think if Enzo's out, I think Caicedo and Gallagher can play in a 2 very well. And I thought, well, I'll have Nkunku in the middle of the 3 and Palmer on the right and Sterling on the left, because I still think, I think Mudryk works better as an impact player at the moment. And weirdly, I say weirdly, I've gone for Jackson up front, having been miserable and dropped him for the last 2 games, which of course he started both. But I actually, we didn't say this in part 1, but I actually thought Jackson looked a lot better. And I know this is going to sound daft because I'm sticking him up on his own. But the reason I'm doing that is because, apparently he worked quite well with Nkunku. But I actually thought he looked a lot better when he wasn't playing as the central striker, when they had him out left or playing as a 2 with Brozier. He looked a lot more comfortable, I thought, in the game against Newcastle. So I've decided to pick him. So it's a bit of a cow's arse my side here, because I don't think half of them are going to play. But there we go.
Didn't we work out, Mark, that Jackson was probably a winger when we were watching? We
actually
thought
he was. When Brozier came on, Jackson was playing on the wing.
Yeah, and he looked okay.
Yeah,
it was quite interesting. Yeah. But he didn't play with Nkunku, Chidge, because he subbed each other.
No. I know that. But in pre-season,
they did, absolutely. But as we've established, and as Poch has established, it's all moved on. A whole different, everybody's revealed other aspects to themselves. Also, Palmer's in the mix, who wasn't there before. wasn't there for him, and Palmer. We forgot to say how good Palmer was again. Palmer is absolutely top banana. He's the classiest player, and he was the best player on the pitch again. I think he's supreme.
He's won Player of the Year already.
Yeah, quite remarkable, and he's got a great attitude as well. He's got a great arrogance about him. He's terrific, absolutely terrific player. Let's hope he maintains it. But yeah, Chidgey, you're absolutely right. You've criticised your own setup when Nkunku's not playing because he said he won't start. Gusto, he said, won't start, and he won't, as you say, he won't play Mats until later on. So it'll be the same boys, Colwyn and Dizazi, and Moises in midfield with Connor. But and I'm not absolutely sure about Fernandes because he wasn't mentioned in the presser at all, which was bizarre. Then he limped off. He seemed to have a kind of groin injury, but I don't know. They were all sort of commiserating with him. But if he's back on Sunday, I don't know what the fuck it was all about.
Well, but if he's not, then I would still be tempted to play a two in midfield and have Mudryk on the left and Palmer where I've got Nkunku.
Yeah,
play Sterling on the right.
I think. Well, that's what he'll do. I think that's what I do because he can't play. There aren't any others. There aren't any other midfield players, are there?
Well, Ugochukwu fit again, I think.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's hardly been pulling up any trees, though, has he?
No.
So, but and I suspect that we will see short shorts Janet up front. So, yeah.
Which we've got to rename him again. I mean, we've had short shorts, we've had inaction Jackson, we've had Jackson, we've had action Jackson,
Janet Jackson,
we've had Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Now I think we have to have offside Jackson.
Yes, definitely. Yes, because
I wrote that in my notes. Actually, I think the first thing I wrote in my notes. There we go. This is the first thing I wrote in my notes in the game. Good pass between the lines to Jackson, who is offside in minute 1, and lots of applause emojis. Well done, son.
What was interesting was, do you remember Morata used to do that all the time?
Oh,
and he used to drive us to distraction. That in fact we were always saying, "Fucking get on side, Morata! For fuck's sake, what's the matter with you?" And then it was almost as if he was doing it because he was thinking, "Well, I can get back now. I'll get back and somehow be in the line." And he wasn't. He was always offside.
Always. I know. Unbelievable. Mark, what do you say on it, on the ye old team selection?
It's the team that I would pick versus the team I think Poch would pick, and I think the team he will pick is not too dissimilar to what you just said. I would have Gusto and Matson, but it doesn't sound like either of those will start the game. So it'll be the back four from the first half. I don't think Fernandes will be fit, so it will be Moises and Gallagher. I would have you three, but I'd have Palmer, Sterling, and Mudryk. I think Nkunku or the Messiah. I think I will call him the Messiah because he's been hyped as much as Brian from Life of Brian so far. And I think yes, you will also have.
He's not the Messiah. He's a naughty boy.
Yeah. He's an injured number 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed, mate. Right.
So what has Nkunku ever done for us?
Yeah, exactly that. I stand by what I said earlier on. I just think, we have to be patient. I mean, even if he was a really well-established Chelsea player who'd been there, done it and proved it, and he'd been out for 6 months with a quite serious knee injury, we would be sitting here saying, oh, is he going to be the player he was? Blah, 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 blah. So that he'd need time before he came in. But this is a guy that's not even played in the Premier League. So,
Yeah, he could turn out to be an absolutely stunning signing, but give the guy time. Be patient with him. But I bet you were there the other night. I bet there was idiots there the other night who brought blue balloons along with them in the event that he came on and scored.
Mm.
And if they'd done that, I'd have to say at the club, life bag. Yeah. Any idiot blowing up a blue balloon when Nkunku scores a goal and posts it on social media should be having season ticket or membership cancelled.
I don't get the significance of a blue balloon.
No, what it is, when he was at Leipzig, when he scored, his goal celebration was he had a balloon in his shorts that he used to get out and blow it up.
Right.
So when he signed for Chelsea...
Sure it was a balloon?
Well, it wasn't a condom; it was a balloon. So when he signed for Chelsea, I think one of the promo photos they used was him with a blue balloon. So every so often you have all these sad, people who basically life evolves around social media that, no one really cares about them, but they think people are following them. And they post pictures of Nkunku with a blue balloon. So I can guarantee there will be some no-mark blue balloon at the ready when he scores his first goal, blowing a balloon picture up, and sticking it on social media. I say, for me, life bad.
Okay, good. Yeah, now, thank you for enlightening me on that. Right, I'm going to enlighten you on Chelsea form, should I say, which is actually quite interesting.
It's the Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, when I do this, I just go on the away games. Well, actually, the first stats are in total, ever, whatever. And then the bracketed ones are in the Premier League away. And obviously, Wolves have only been in the Premier League for 9 seasons, going as far back as 2003, I hasten to add. But totally, overall, we've won 44 games, drawn 30 and lost 41, which I thought was quite even, which I was surprised at. And actually in the Premier League away, it's even more interesting because we've won 4, lost 4 and drawn 1, which I thought, surely some mistake. And I looked down at the lists and actually, we lost in 2011, 2018, 2020. And last time we played them up there, we lost 1-0. The wins are quite fun, though. I shall never, ever forget the 5-0. I think it was it was early in the season, wasn't it, up there? Crespo scored an absolute fucking cracker. And they had the Embassy Regal kit on, didn't they? Yeah?
Yeah.
The little, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was great. And, of course, the one where who scored? Tammy scored a hat-trick, didn't he? The 5-2. That was a bonkers game.
And was it Tomori got that cracking goal?
He did. So, but I mean, it's basically, it's a lot more even than I thought it would. Going back just for the last 5 games we played them anywhere, we've lost last season, as I said. We won at home 3-0, Connor's last minute. No, it wasn't, I don't know, anyway, I can't remember. I think Connor did score a goal in that. Anyway, and we drew we kept on drawing 0-0 to them, if you remember, and they were really horribly turgid games. The Wolves' form is a bit kind of up and down, really. I mean, they lost 3-0 against West Ham away. They drew 1-1 with Forest. They beat Burnley 1-0, and they lost 2-1 to Arsenal away and 3-2 to Fulham away. So I don't think that's massively impressive. And then good old Flash Score have got some stats, as ever, JK, to frighten the shit out of us. So, so Wolves have had a poor run of form over the previous 5 rounds, basically. 1-1, drawn 1, lost 3. Wolves are unbeaten across their last 6 home games, 1-3, drawn 3. And they're enjoying their longest run of scoring in top-flight home games, 15, since a 16-game streak between 1969 and 70. Chelsea are enduring their second worst 17-game Premier League start for over a decade. We've got 3 defeats across our last 5 Premier League games. And we're enduring a 3-game winless run of Premier League away head-to-heads with Wolves since 2019, drawn 1, lost 2. We have 3 straight Premier League away defeats, and we failed to even get on the score sheet in 2 of our 4 league trips to face sides beginning the day below us. 1-2, drawn 1, lost 1. So, as always, Flash Score aims to depress us thoroughly.
So it's
Chelsea's
not looking
form.
good, is it, Chidge?
No. This is a really weird stat, which they love so much, they call it their hot stat. Only Premier League games involving Brighton, 16/17, had seen both teams score more often than Wolves, 13-17, 76% ahead of this round. So both teams to score would be a good bet for those that like a gamble. Anyway, I mean, here's the thing, boys. JK, form, schmorm, bollocks to it. Surely this has to be about momentum. We beat Sheffield United last week. It wasn't easy, but we did.
They weren't terrible, though, Chidge. They were shit.
They were shit, I know, but they were annoying. It's like they got in the way deliberately. we've just, got. I just think the momentum from Tuesday night has got to carry over. I mean, it was a real togetherness moment, and I'm just hoping that will carry over.
Unless they're tired.
Well, they didn't play extra time.
No, I know, but that was the excuse last time, wasn't it?
They played on Tuesday.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 days rest. Fuck's sake.
I know, I agree. They really just say that they've got some decent players. That Cunha's a good player, but never stops trying. And who's the other good one I like there?
Neto's back, they reckon.
Wang, Chan Wang seems to be a very good player.
Let's hope he doesn't wang it in.
Yeah, indeed. Neto's decent, and Lamina's good, and Gomez seems to be, and Semedo, of course, is one of their best players, isn't he? So it's interesting. They've assembled a group of what appears to be quite decent competitors. Every time I watch them, I think a lot of effort's going in there. He gets them to play with a lot of commitment. They don't appear to sit behind the ball and park 10 and then just run at the opposition by kicking the ball up the pitch. There seems to be some movement going on there. So I just think it'll be an interesting. We've got a decent goalkeeper as well, haven't they, Sarr? I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's got a draw written all over it, personally.
Well, I think you may be right. I like their manager too. I think he's got a bit about him, actually, because he got fired from Bournemouth for no particular reason, having kept them up.
Yeah.
But he's good for him to say, fuck you, and he's gone off to Wolves. And I think he's done a steady job there.
Sterling job, I think, yes.
Yeah. He's no nonsense. I kind of like him. By Mark, what say you, old Bean? How do you think it's all going to pan out?
I would agree. I think this has got a draw written all over it. And we haven't had a particularly good record there, Wolves. So I'd probably take a draw at this present moment in time.
I want to win. I definitely want to win.
We always want to win, Chidge.
No, we always want to win. And actually, the strange thing is, you were talking about sort of like upcoming games earlier. If we did win, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves already. If we did win, and then we've got Palace and Luton coming up, and then we've got an FA Cup tie against Preston, a Carabao Cup semi-final against Middlesbrough, a league game against Fulham, then another Carabao Cup tie against Middlesbrough. We have got, and we've said this many times, but we've got a run of 6 or 7 games where you'd think we could go on a nice little run now. So it would be nice to win on Sunday, to keep that momentum going from the other night. We've won 2 home games in a row. We go into Palace and beat Palace at home. It would be fantastic. Yeah.
It would.
I just think it's got a bit of a draw feel about it.
I think you're right. It's got 1-1 written all over it, isn't it? But
yep.
I mean, we're currently 10th, but by Sunday we could be 12th, maybe even 13th, depending on how it goes. I mean, if Fulham, Brentford, and Bournemouth win, I don't know if they can go above us on goal difference. Fulham can certainly overtake us, and they've got an easy fixture, I think, relatively speaking.
Who has Fulham got?
That's a good question, I could tell you, but you'll have to wait for 1 second.
That's right. I only ask very good questions.
You do ask very good questions, Mark. Now, if I go back here and do this, live standings, fixtures. There you go. Right. Fulham have got Burnley at home. Bournemouth have got Forest away. New manager bounce, who knows? I mean,
no. I think Forest getting rid of Cooper
that's a bad thing for them. Yeah, I agree.
A bad thing for them. I think they could get relegated on the back. That's a stupid decision.
I totally agree. Shocking, really. But Brentford, who have Brentford got? Oh, Brentford's match has been postponed because City are in the World Cup, Club Cup, or whatever it is. So
they won 4-0.
They won 4-0, bastards.
Yeah.
Fulham could certainly overtake us, and Bournemouth the Bournemouth can't. They're way too behind on goal difference. So we could be in 11th by Sunday. So we do need to win it. We're still quite a way. I mean, if we look at West Ham in 9th, they're on 27 points. So we're 5 points behind them in the next place up. So we need to. That's what I'm saying, really. We've got an opportunity, 3 technically winnable games. Wolves away, Palace at home, Luton away. I know they won't be easy. No game ever is. But for fuck's sake, we're not playing City, Arsenal and Liverpool in the next 3 games. You know, so that's why I'm. I don't know whether I'm being optimistic because it's more what I want to happen rather than what I think will happen. But hey, we'll see. JK, what are you going to go? You're going to go for a score draw?
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Mark?
2-2 as well.
2-2. Well, I'm going to stick with my guns here. I went 2-1 in the Prem predictions, and I'm going to stay with that. But I do hear what you're saying, that it's got draw written all over it. But I don't know. It depends how I can't remember the bloody guy's name now. Gary something, isn't it? The Wolves manager. Anyway, if he parks the bus, then fucking draw all over it. But
they're not going to. As you said, they've got a good record at home, haven't they? They're not going to park the bus at home, surely. And that's been sort of like one of the problems, like us losing the balls. They do come out and attack at home. So who knows? That might work to our advantage. But I can't see them parking the bus in front of their own fans. Last game before Christmas.
Well, indeed. And I mean, you know, they're unbeaten in their last 6 home league games. They've won 3, drawn 3, and they always score. I mean, if they score again, they'll break their longest run of scoring in top flight home games record. So put your money on Wolves to score, and you know, I think a draw is a sensible bet. I just want us to win, so I'm sticking with the win. All right. Anyway, it's time.
Win, but
what?
Yeah.
What? What do you think it's time for, JK? Apart from a lie down on a long fucking rest, it's another one of your favourite.
They played for both. Oh,
yes. With added Nathan, and even better, we've actually now got. I mean, I'm casting no aspersions on you, JK, when I say this, because remember, when we do this every week, I get away with it scot-free.
Yes.
I never look like a total plum.
Yes.
You know, for not actually getting any of them right.
And it's not easy when you're in there thinking about it. It is not easy. Where if you're in the pub, you'd probably get a lot more. Yeah.
Well, this is true. Now, Martin has, without doubt, as we all knew he would, been the absolute bollocks so far on this.
There's not many that play for Chelsea and Wolves, is there?
Well, Mark,
you're going to tell us now, aren't you?
No, I've got high hopes for you.
127. He's going to say.
Yeah, Mark, there's no pressure. There's no. Pressure.
I know one straight away. Yeah.
But just imagine that you're Nkunku at the moment. All right. Basically,
Messiah.
yeah. Basically, actually, you've also lucked out because there are only 14 players that have played for both Chelsea and Wolves.
Or ever.
And you should know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. The others, not a clue. So off you go.
John Harley.
Okay.
What?
John Harley.
John Harley? No.
One definitely no, because he was our guest the other week and he mentioned it, and I've interviewed and talked about it. Tommy Langley.
Very good. Very good.
Dave Besant.
Yes, very good, JK.
Very well.
Dave Besant's the answer every week, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he is, to be fair. So well done, JK, for at least having some smarts about you.
A really obvious one, Diego Costa.
Well, I totally
we had
agree.
to get that one. Yeah.
He's not on their list, but I agree. He absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to give you that. So it's 15 players.
What do you mean? Give us that. Of course he did. Yeah.
No. I don't know why he's not on the list. No. Jim McCalliog is a yes. Jim Barron. Yes. Now, okay. Do you want to tell us about Jim Barron?
Jim Barron, goalkeeper for Chelsea in the 1960s.
Yeah. One appearance in 1965.
Yeah.
So, that's 5. Just 10 to go.
Just 10 to go. Bloody hell.
And you should know 1, 2 of them at least.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
One of them can often be seen on BT Sports, or not seen, but heard on TalkSport.
On TalkSport?
Yep.
Andy Townsend didn't play for Wolves.
No. Okay, another clue. He's quite often called Bruno. Silence.
Bruno?
Yeah. Bruno. He's recent-ish. Well, within the last 20 years.
Bruno?
No, it's not. Yeah. That's not his name. The crowd used to chant Bruno, Bruno.
Oh, Carlton Cole.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yes. So that's 6. Well done. Okay. And the other one was kind of a really weird one because I don't know. There was a sense that he might have been one that got away. Very stylish player. Defender. With a French-sounding name, but he wasn't French. Had dreads.
Oh, Michael
Mancien.
Well done. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so that's 7. Now the rest of them.
Does Frank Monroe count? He may not be on your list because Frank Monroe actually played for Chelsea. Testimonials count because Frank Monroe played in the Ian Hutchinson testimonial in 1978 for some bizarre reason.
He's not on it, so that's a no.
All right.
So you got to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We've got 8.
You got 8 to get.
There?
Well,
we had to get those 8.
Yeah, we got 15. Right, so you've got 7 so far, and I don't really have a Scooby who the rest of them are. I mean,
right.
No, I don't actually. No, I'm no, none at all. So I can't even give you clues because I don't even know who they are.
So they're probably all from the 1940s and 30s and 20s. Yeah.
Well, indeed. Apart from there's one on there that is quite recent, which you might get. I think he was a goalkeeper.
Or done Jim Barron, yeah.
And he was on loan.
A goalkeeper on loan?
It was the early 90s. I think he was a goalkeeper.
Well, the only goalkeepers we probably had around in the 90s, like we'd have had Craig Forrest. Yeah.
Nope, it's not him.
What's his name? Blackman?
No, this is early 90s.
Oh.
I'm just confirming if he was a goalkeeper or not. When would it say? I think I'm pretty sure he might. Well, I don't know. He only played once, so it's hard to say. Because obviously it lists the goals, doesn't it?
So if you came on loan, the only one I think Craig Forrest. I think we had people like Fridge and Pidgley that didn't play very often. Yeah.
I don't. Oh no, he wasn't. He wasn't a goalkeeper. I've got that completely. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Okay, what position did he play then?
Fuck, I don't know.
Or did he play for anyone else? Yeah.
Yes, he did. Okay, I'll tell you. We got him on loan from Reading.
Oh, Michael Gilks.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, but excuse me, I was there as well.
Well, no, you both weren't. No.
Yeah, Michael Gilks played against Southampton in full Members' Cup, and he played, I think, Southampton in the league, both subs appearances. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So you're going to give up on the rest? Because I can't even think of any clear. Okay, right. I'm going to try one, okay? Think of the kindly prison warder in Porridge.
Mr. Mackay.
No, not him.
No.
Kindly one.
Oh, the kindly one, sorry. Mr. Barraclough.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, first name. What you would, we call it a note. In America, they would call it a...
Period.
A bill.
What?
A bill.
Yes, a bill. Bill Barraclough. Well done.
Who?
Amazing
Bill
how you got
that. Who's he?
Yeah. Well, I can't believe you don't know this. He played 81 appearances and 11 goals between 1934 and 1937.
Oh, yeah, Bill Barraclough.
Oh, God. Yeah, JK, you must have saw him play, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. JK might know this one. This man played 1946 to 1948, 15 appearances, 1 goal.
Billy Fishhook.
No. And you could say they don't make him like anymore.
They don't make him like.
He was of Sunshine.
Ray.
Ray.
Very good. First name Ray. And Subway sect, Mark.
Ray Goddard.
Well done, Mark. How did you get that? That's astonishing.
Ray Goddard played for Wolves.
Yep. Ray Goddard, 1946-94, 15 appearances, 1 goal.
Bloody hell.
Now, I thought that the next chap was the brother of somebody that has played for us, but I got it wrong because his brother was called something else. So it's think of 2 brothers in the 60s. One went on to become an absolute Chelsea legend?
The two brothers would be in the 60s would be Alan Harris and Ron Harris. So
it would be
basically, yeah. So John Harris played in the 50s. Yeah,
fucking brilliant. Well done, Mark. Yeah,
I think he was in the 54-5 squad. Yeah,
46. Yeah, 46 to 56, 364 appearances, 14 goals.
Yeah.
So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Bloody hell. I mean, let me have a look at him. Is he actually on here? Yeah. Oh, yes, he is. Okay. This chap made 42 appearances. This is JK will know this. 42 appearances, 18 goals between 59 and 61.
Ron Tyndall.
Nope.
No, he was a defender. A midfield player, sorry.
First name was Charlie.
Charlie.
Not getting it. Charlie Livesey.
No, I wouldn't have got that. No.
All right. Okay. Probably. I mean, I don't think you can get a more English name than this chap who played between 38 and 39, 49 appearances. Think of the era. Popular name in those days.
Ponsonby Smythe.
What?
Ponsonby Smythe.
No. Think a film that your dad was in with Peter Sellers.
Jack.
I'm all right, Jack.
Yeah, but Jack is his first name. And what's the most common surname in the English language?
Smith.
Very good. Jack Smith. There we go. 2 more. Think of on the buses, Mark.
Either Blakey.
Butler. Jeff Butler.
Butler.
No. Think of on the buses.
Reg.
Yes. Second name. It's not Varney, in case you were wondering.
You do know Reg Varney was the first man that opened the cash point.
He was.
I did not know that. Yeah. That's knowledge.
He was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
You'll never get
somewhere in North London. Yeah.
You'll never get this. He played for us between 1929 and 32, and his name is Reg Weaver. He's had 20 appearances and 8 goals. And I'm just going to do the last one because I don't know. I could do. The clue is Otten.
Walter.
Very good, JK. Yeah. And if I had a lot of land, what would it be?
A hectare.
Very close.
William Hector.
Smaller.
Heck.
Acre.
Walter
Akers. Yeah. He was a reserve between 37 and 39.
Oh, that's a good one to get. Yeah.
So there we go. You didn't do too badly. Let's be honest here. You did not do too badly because some of those were stinkers.
A lot of help.
Stinkers, JK. Absolute stinkers.
Stinkers. Absolute shower.
Absolute shower. I know. But as ever, well done to Nathan for giving the additional information, and to the lovely Paul Carter and his Stamford-bridge.com website and his wonderful Twitter handle, which I think is exactly that, at Stamford-Bridge. But it kind of goes a history of Stamford Bridge. Lovely blokes, and we do enjoy doing this. It's I love it because I don't get to.
It's bloody hard.
It's bloody hard. As I said, I love it because I don't get exposed as a complete buffoon for not knowing anything.
We'll only be able to do three next year, won't we, with the 3 promoted teams?
No, I think actually knowing that you all have memories like goldfish, we could just keep doing this forever, and you won't know any better. Yeah,
no, we'll come back a year's time and forget that sort of these players played for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah,
exactly. I know. So and there may well be additions, of course, which we might not know about. But we'll see how it pans out next year. But
we have some breaking news.
Oh, go on, off you go.
It ties into what we were talking about earlier. The Premier League have issued a statement about next season, when the season will start and when the season will end. And this is quite topical as we're talking about the Wolves game. And obviously I said that I was in a meeting with Richard Masters from the Premier League last week. And they've come out and said there will be no fixture on the 24th of December next year, which is a Tuesday.
Yeah, I noticed that. And in the meantime, Sheffield United are completely norsing up my Prem predictions because it's nearly 70 minutes gone and it's 0-0, and I had them down to win 3-0, so I'm fucked.
You had Sheffield United down to win 3-0?
No, I had Villa to win 3-0, Nana.
I had Villa
Oh,
to win
dear.
5-0.
Oh, JK, that's why you're bottom of the bloody league, mate. Unbelievable. And I see that naughty sneak Martin has shot above me. Now I'm 20th. Dan's doing really well. Dan's about 9th. He's having
I had a weird moment because I've never been on page 1, but the other week I was ahead of Mark Worrell briefly, which I thought, this is not right,
Yeah. Anyway, it's not that it's competitive at all. Right. I'm afraid we have to go soon. We will be back. Okay, this is complicated, chaps. It's Christmas Day on Monday. Funnily enough, we won't be doing a show on that day because we have families and lives, and I want to eat lots of food and get very drunk. So it ain't happening. So we won't be catching up with the Wolves match and the Palace match, in fact, until Friday next week. So we will be back a week today at 7:30, of course, and I'll be here with JK as ever and the absolutely lovely Martin Wickham. And we will be looking back against the Wolves and the Palace matches and ahead to the match against
Aren't
Newton.
we doing a Palace preview tomorrow?
No, mate.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got better things to do. And it's pointless. I mean, here's the thing, right? Golden rule. It's fucking pointless previewing a match before the previous match has been played. I mean, if I struggle to get the team right by just being sneaky and writing this the day before and getting it totally wrong, you can see where it's leading, right?
I agree. I was being
and
facetious.
JK, as Noddy says, it's Christmas!
Yeah.
Of course. Good old Noddy.
You're welcome to do a fan bite on your own on Monday or Tuesday if you want to preview it. If you're that desperate.
Thank you. I'm not.
You can have your own little graphic on there and everything.
Can I? Can I speak
Yep.
to you? Thank you very much. Good.
But there you go. So we'll be back a week today on Friday. Looking forward to that, of course. Keep your emails coming in for In Off the Post. When I have enough, we'll do another show. ChelseaFancast@gmail.com, of course. And you can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast. Me at Stanford Chidgey, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and Mark at Eddie Mac BAWA.
Can I just say, Chidge, I'm Jonathan Kydd CFC now.
Well, not your actual Twitter address.
Yes.
Oh, have you changed
I see
it?
what you mean. The address itself. No, you're right.
No. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You just changed the name.
I have. You're right.
But not the Twitter address.
Not the Twitter address. You're right.
Misleading information, folks. As we were.
Ignore that. Yeah.
Or as he would say, as you were, LG. So yeah. Anyway, right. I need to say something to you, lovely people. Actually, not you two, lovely people. The lovely people who listen to us, particularly the people in Mixler. I just wanted to say thank you for all of your fantastic support this year. And on behalf of us all, I would like to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great break. I hope you have a lovely time on Christmas Day.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas, etc.
Well done, JK. So there we go. No, we do seriously wish you a lovely Christmas. And as I said, thank you for your support this year. Your support is fucking great, is all I can say. And it's also fucking great being on with these two reprobates. Mark, brilliant for you to leap on, having been in Mixler tonight, and come and join us. I've got a message, actually, funny enough. Sorry, JK. I've got a message from Clayton, who I was worried about and concerned about, as you know, earlier. I did, after my kind of like giggling about, he's, not turned up. I then thought, maybe there's something wrong with him. I have a message on the Chelsea Fancast WhatsApp group. I'm so sorry, completely forgot.
There'll be many a disappointed housewife in Mixler this evening.
Yeah, I know. There we go. I love his honesty. Maybe I was right. Maybe he got drunk today, and that's why he forgot. I'll give him a tinkle later and see how he is. But it's good to hear he's okay anyway. Mark, as I said, it's been brilliant having you on, as it always is, but particularly as you literally were listening in Mixler and just thought, no, I can come and join that. That's great. Brilliant.
I probably owed you one because I think last Monday week I was meant to be on, and I had a thing so it was just you and JK did it, and it was a great show. I listened back afterwards. It was great to be on. I echo what you said. Thank everybody who listens into the Fancast, who sends emails in, who stops us in the street, stops us at games, says nice things to us, comes along to the events at the Troubadour. Without you, these things wouldn't exist. And you all support the greatest football club there is, and you make this show what it is by listening every week. So I wish you all a very, very, very Merry Christmas. Eat lots of food, drink lots of drink, and let's see our team do well over this Christmas period and next season, hopefully with a trophy, 2 trophies, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. And then we enter the Conference League next season and we win that as well, because we haven't won that. And the final will be in Warsaw in Poland.
Oh, yeah.
And having just come back from there, it's a great place to go to.
Yeah, indeed.
Beer is very cheap.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. By the way, talking of the Troubadour, Mark and I can exclusively reveal that it's February the 4th, isn't it? Because we've got a 2 o'clock Sunday kickoff.
Yes.
2 o'clock Sunday against Fulham. So we will have a gig on February the 4th.
No, it's Wolves. It's Wolves.
Oh, it's Wolves.
It's
Sorry,
Wolves.
Mark. You're right. Yeah.
It's the Wolves. Yeah.
Yeah. After the Wolves game, February the 4th, Sunday at 2 o'clock kickoff. So we'll be kicking off at about 4:30. Mark and I are trying to figure out who we're going to ask. We haven't decided yet, have we?
Yeah, we're working on a few possibilities. I think we can certainly say that it will be happening. We just need to work out who it will be, just to make sure there's no bloody train strikes on that day, or anything like that. Stop people coming. And again, if people are in Mixler, by all means, write in and send in suggestions. Or if you say, "Oh, I know,"
they already have. They
They
saw on Discord. They've seen the John Obi Mikel podcast of Mourinho, and they're demanding we get Mourinho at the Troubadour. I said, no problem.
No problem. He'll be on there for a month.
Yeah, probably.
The amount of people that want to actually go there. I'd also say as well, last Saturday we had Jock Finiston down at Stamford Bridge in the T-Bike for the game. And if anyone that came along, Jock was absolutely fantastic. He is just a lovely, lovely man.
Well, you mentioned Jock and Kenny Swain, didn't you?
Jock and Kenny, certainly a possibility. They played up front together. Jock said he'd do it any time. I saw Kenny quite recently. Kenny basically said, provided Aston Villa haven't got a game, because he does hospitality at Villa Park, he'd love to do it. I think the feedback we had from the last event was Tommy Langley was absolutely fantastic, but it was just when he could get a word in with Kerry. So people would love to have Tommy back. Yeah.
I said we'd get Tommy back, but that, he has to be over here to do that. So that's not as easy as it sounds. Anyway, Mark and I will have a think about who we get for you. But yeah, get the 4th of Feb, 4:30-ish in your diary for another Chelsea Fancast Presents the Troubadour. So there we go. Again, Mark, thank you. You've been brilliant as always. Now, as for you, Mr. Kydd, it's not our last show of the year, but it's as always, it's an absolute pleasure doing this little show with you. So I just want to say thank you and have a lovely Christmas, mate.
Thank you.
Are you going to go on when? Are you going to go on Sunday, or have you decided to long it off?
I don't know. I'm feeling a bit poorly. I've got it arranged to go, but I just don't know if I'm feeling well enough. I'll be honest with you. So,
well, maybe you should rest up and get better.
Yeah, maybe the case.
We need you on the Fancast, mate.
Hey, yes, absolutely. Can I echo Mark's sentiments and say how fabulous it is to be involved and reaching out to so many people around the world. And bizarrely, my girlfriend's brother's mate, they're at school together, was over, met her in the street and said, and he works in Hong Kong, and he said, I love listening to your boyfriend on the Fancast. He said, the Fancast is such a wonderful show, he said.
Aww.
And he said, and I love everybody who's on it, he said. And the fact that it was, a Chelsea fan from London originally was working out in Hong Kong and just happened to be the coincidence of the meeting. But the fact that he listens from Hong Kong is just blows your mind, really, doesn't it? And
yeah.
To all our... you say, Mark, what do you want to say? Yeah.
Oh, that just reminded me something to say to Chidgey. He was so sweet the other night, Chidgey. Obviously, I was sitting in with him, and obviously you haven't seen it because I was in the match programme.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did a piece with me, and JK was absolutely fantastic. He took the programme round and he was showing it to all the staff there. And he just sort of said, look, it's Mark Meehan.
Oh, I love it.
I only bring the best people in.
Yeah, he didn't say that when I turned up, mate.
Well, I didn't have a picture of you, Chidge. Give me a picture of you, Chidge, and I'll show it to them.
When I called Huddleston, I can't remember what I called him, but I know the Gareth word was involved. You were serious. I don't know him. He's not with me. Not with me.
I grabbed you, didn't I, by the arm, tried to pull you down. Sit down,
Dragging me down. Sit down, Chidge.
Sit down, Chidge. But yeah, no, I loved the fact, Mark, that you were in the programme. I thought it was so brilliant that I could actually then show them, look who I've got with me here. It was very impressive. Those 3 Newcastle fans didn't quite know what to make of it. It was very good,
brilliant
fun doing that. But just to say, carry on with the love that we do get from people who recognise us or know that we're on the show when we go to away games or even in the ground is fantastic. And also the standard of emails is so brilliant, and the standard of supporter who listens to this and the remarks they make on Twitter is quite joyous, and so and they're so informed. I love it. I love the fact that we can feed that into the Fancast as well. It's a lovely community that you've established here, and I think it's brilliant. So as I say, like Mark, I wish everybody an excellent, happy Christmas.
Yeah, and you too, mate, and you too, Mark, as well. Absolutely. Right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you next week, next Friday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea.
Let's get him wolves here.
Merry Christmas.
Fantastic. Well done. That was fun. Let's get out of this. Stop.